How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Raffledallet, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, guys, we're doing a top 10 Pokemon fan games of the week. This is a series that I did in the past, and I thought it would be fun to bring it back for another run. I thought it would be fun to actually just bring it back and have a good time with it, and just kind of go through some really awesome fan games out there that you can play on a weekly basis. Now, I do understand some of these games are not always finished. Some of them are finished, some of them are demos, some of them are alphas, some of them are betas, and sometimes there are a few games that I show twice because they end up just being, good enough games that I want to kind of like still promote them and show you guys those games so you can check them out. So keep that in mind as you're watching the video, guys, and let's get started with number 10. So kicking off this list is going to be Pokemon Police Force Enhanced Version. Now, Pokemon Police Force is a pretty awesome freaking game. The story is described as this. Today is a day. You've completed the required training and now are a fully fledged Pokemon police officer. You're assigned to a position on 3 islands, where a young girl is missing and a biker gang terrorizes the locals. It's time for you to figure out the mysterious disappearance and defeat the hooligans once and for all. This game is pretty awesome. It does actually have some really awesome features as well, like Delta Pokemon, increased amounts of berries. There is no lag in the game, is what they actually claim as well here, which is, I'm not sure why that's a thing, but there are a few games that are specifically, like when you make them with RPG Maker and you use Pokemon Essentials, sometimes they tend to be laggy, but apparently this one does not have any of that. There are also Pokemon changes so that you don't need actual, like, trait evolutions are evolved by level up, and some Pokemon evolve earlier than normal. There's also boss battles in the game and that sort of stuff. There's quieter music, so it's not going to blow out your ears. Lower file size, you can download the game for most PCs and somebody, who has maybe bad internet. And yeah, there's also a gift for completing the game. You receive a sweet little, like, new Pokemon. And it features about 1 to 2 hours of gameplay. You've got Turbo, which is like a speed up mode, 1 in 900 shiny chance, Gen 3 visuals and Pokemon, and 8 Delta species Pokemon as well. So the game does have enough to offer that I think it's worthwhile to go through the whole game and play it. Plus, it's an hour, and it's 1 or 2 hours of gameplay, so it's not the end of the world. I think, it's just right enough where it should be just perfect in length for anybody to experience and have fun with. So that's kind of what I think. But either way, let's get to the next one on the list, shall we? Now, coming up next is going to be Pokemon Magikarp Jump. Now, I'm not talking about the mobile game Magikarp Jump, because this is actually a fan game I'm referring to that is called Magikarp Jump. Now, it may seem a little bit weird when I first talk about it, but you'll kind of understand. Now, the game itself, as you can see from the screenshots here, essentially is like, it looks like Gen 4, that's all it looks like, but the gameplay in the game is actually awesome. Instead of just doing the normal gameplay you have, which is like going to a battle, instead you have Magikarps, and these Magikarps have to jump, aka the Magikarp jump part of it, like you do in the mobile game. They have to jump, and that's the only way for these Pokemon to kind of like, actually level up and get stronger and whatnot. And the way you actually level up these Pokemon and the way they actually win against each other is who jumps higher, and the way to level them up is by essentially having your Magikarp attack like different sort of like, I'm not sure what you call them, like punching bags, essentially. Like, you gotta make them to punch bags and that sort of stuff for them to level up. It's a really weird game. It's really short, but it's really worthwhile as well. It's essentially a fully finished game, so it has about an hour or 2 worth of content. You should have enough there to do. There's also different Magikarp forms. You have the ability of purchasing Pokemon. There are familiar faces from the Relic Castle community specifically, and it also has the interesting battle system, which I think is worthwhile playing the game for. It's a very short game. Both the games I've mentioned so far are very short games that I think are worthwhile checking out, and they're both essentially kind of finished, so you definitely should check them out if you're looking for finished experiences, so definitely give them a try. Either way, let's go to the next one. Now, coming up next is another game that I freaking love, and a game that I've actually played and showcased on the channel previously, and it's Pokemon Attack on the Space Station. Now, Pokemon Attack on the Space Station is really interesting. So you are essentially on a space station, as the name suggests, and the space station gets attacked. Now, who are you? Well, you are a aerospace engineer who's working on the International Space Station, and right when things are just being normal, just disaster strikes, and things just go crazy, and some weird, creepy Pokemon appear, and it's quite odd. Now, here's the thing, right? The game is awesome. The story is really, really nice, and it's got a couple of hours of gameplay, so there's definitely something to do there compared to the other 2 games. There's definitely more stuff here to do. You also have Turbo, like speed up mode in this game, like you had in the Police Force game. You have Pokemon all the way until Gen 5, as well as new Pokemon forms to capture, like these new alien-ish forms of them. Music is set to give like a space station ambience type of sound, and it's kind of looped and whatnot, so that's also interesting. I've played the game, and it's really, really, really ominous music. Like, it's like like, it perfectly settles you in into, like, where you are, and you kind of understand, like, the situation, like, okay, I am in trouble, I understand what's going on now, let's have some fun in this game. It's definitely worthwhile checking out, and it's kind of like got a connection to another game, which is also called Attack on Silphco, which is another sort of, like, you know, game made by, I guess, the same people, so it's got a connection to that. So I guess if you play both those games, like, it would make sense in terms of story-wise. This would actually kind of make a good connection to each other. But either way, definitely a worthwhile game to check out. It looks beautiful. It's got some unique tiles. I love it. It's freaking fantastic. And it's got some unique quests and missions you got to do to, like, actually progress in the game. It's definitely worth checking out. I guarantee you, it is definitely worth your time. Either way, let's get to the next one, shall we? Now, coming up next at the number 7 spot is going to be Pokemon Phoenix Rising. So Phoenix Rising is one of those games that most people know about. It's actually a really popular game, but I still think it's worthwhile giving some extra, you know, love to this game, because it actually is really unique in its art style and kind of the way they've made all the tile sets. Now, this is one of the longest developed Pokemon fan games out there. It's been in development for such a long time, and the demo is now out to be actually playable. It goes up to, I guess, like 2 gyms or something like that. I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but it has a decent amount of gameplay there to be actually experienced and played, so you've definitely got something to do in this game. And I've got to say, the visual aspects of these games are amazing. Now, on release day, there was a lot of hiccups with the lag and that sort of stuff, but if you look past that, and now the actual updated working versions, they are fantastic. This game is straight up awesome. Definitely worthwhile checking out. You've got, like, tons of new characters that are just super unique. You've got the Gen 4 art style with the best looking, and I'm claiming it right now, the best looking tile sets I have ever seen. They really put a lot of effort into these, and they just look phenomenal. The overall lighting in the game, the atmosphere is just amazing. There are also some new, unique, like, forms to Pokemon, which do exist as well, and of course, they're gonna, you know, they have, like, their own custom Mega Evolutions and forms and whatnot, and they're also working on a Let's Play mode, which I don't think is out yet. They have relic forms for certain Pokemon as well, which is, like, their own new version of, like, you know, kind of like their version of Alola, and their Alolan Pokemon, so to say, or Alola forms, rather. And, of course, again, the game just looks phenomenal. There's so much effort put into this. There's also a really unique story. There's a, like, a system in place where your choices can affect, you know, where the story takes you and what happens. So there's so much, like, jam-packed into this short little, like, you know, demo that's definitely worth checking out. So give it some love, give it a try if you haven't already. It's definitely worth your time, I will guarantee. Either way, let's get to the next one. Now, coming up next is going to be Pokemon Zero. Now, Pokemon Zero is like an enhanced version of Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green. Now, this game, like, it features a lot of things. Now, it's got, of course, all the, you know, 8 gyms, the Elite Four, etc., the general experience, but it has a lot of changes in the game. Now, these changes tend to be more gameplay-oriented, like reworking the story, so some characters play larger roles, and Leaf and Red, you know, you can kind of, I guess, you know, there's, like, different aspects to it, so to say. There also is, like, updates to the teams that, like, trainers use in certain gyms and whatnot. There's a day and night cycle, and there's so many things just jam-packed in here. There's also, like, brand new Pokemon added in, like, not brand new as in Fakemon, but, like, you know, Pokemon you would never have seen in Fire Red, Leaf Green can also be found in this. There's also alternate forms of certain Pokemon in the Kanto extended decks, including Mega Evolutions and Alola forms, so there are Alolan Pokemon in this as well included. There isn't every single Pokemon, so there's not the 807 Pokemon available, like, yet, but I guess that's something that will be eventually programmed into the game in general, so I guess it's kind of worthwhile. But there is also, like, some quality of life changes in this game. This is essentially like an improved remake-ish type thing of Fire Red, Leaf Green specifically. That's kind of what this goes for. But there is a speed-up button, of course. There's no limit on the number of different items you can have in your bag. TMs and original Fire Red, Leaf Green move tutors are infinite use instead of single use, which is great. That's something that was, like, a big problem for, you know, Fire Red, Leaf Green. But, like, in general, this is one of those games that, like, I would recommend to someone who just wants to play an old Pokemon game, but it's been enhanced. That's, like, what this kind of experience is when you play something like Pokemon Zero. Now, I will say one thing, which I don't think this is something they actually did, but I feel like there is some more vibrance in, like, the actual gameplay when you look at it on, you know, on the screenshots. And of course, they do have the Alolan Pokemon, which do look amazing. I'm gonna say that right now. The Alolan Pokemon in this do look great. The sprites for them do look great. And of course, the story changes do make the game way more interesting. So this could be like a remake-ish type of experience, but also it is unique in its own way, and it has different things in it that it just make it worthwhile to play, in my honest opinion. So do check it out, guys. Give it some love. Let's get to the next one. Now, coming up next is going to be Pokemon Spectrum. Now, this is a game that I actually showcased last year, and I think it's worthwhile checking out. Now, it's got a unique story, and it's the setting for this game is amazing. It is the place down under. It is Australia, my friends, and I just get excited about the potential of this game and where it's going. So the game features 50 plus available Pokemon in the current demo, including their evolutions, and 100 plus Pokemon are planned and going to be sprited, for the full game and that sort of stuff. There's a new region that's, based on Australia, of course. Animated sprites are in the game. Trainer customization is in the game. Handful of official Pokemon also catchable, with some of them having new evolutions. So that's pretty awesome. Demo is currently at 2 gyms, so the one you can play right now is only at that. HMs are now item-based. No need for HM slaves in this game, which is awesome. That's always great. Gen 6 mechanics, which, you can kind of understand what they mean by that, yeah, also increased shiny rates, which is ridiculously high at about 0.8 chance of encounter, which, yeah, I'll take that. Now, the features for the next update that they plan to add is actually 25 plus more Pokemon and redesigns. All official Pokemon are replaced with new forms, higher res and reanimated back sprites, and 3 plus new towns and 1 new gym. So I'm not sure when that demo is coming out, but this is a game that I think is worthwhile checking out. They have some of the most awesome Pokemon I have seen. There are a few games that can pull that off, but these guys have. And their actual tile sets that they use and the overworld that they've created is just fantastic. Hands down, it is fantastic. They really made it just freaking awesome, and I love it. So this is a worthwhile game to check out, guys. I recommend it 100%. It has great features. The current demo is worth playing for what it has. So do give it some love, do check it out, and let's go to the next one. Now, next up is a shorter game, but this is a finished game as well, and it's Pokemon Mew U. Now, Mew U is a game that was made for the Relic Castle Game Jam a while back, actually, 2015, and it's a game that I've actually showcased. I showcased it a long time ago, actually, and it's a game where you play and battle as Mew, which is freaking awesome. The game has this kind of mystery dungeon feeling to it, but the actual overworld and all that stuff has kind of this more Gen 4 feeling to it. So it's kind of a nice little mixture, but there is a lovely, cute little story in the game. There's tons of other Pokemon you can find, talk to, interact with. You can battle. There's also an organization, I guess, I'm not sure if it was Team Rocket or somebody else, kind of searching for you and that sort of stuff. So there is something here for everyone, and I think it's really worthwhile. Now, you can also rematch multiple times against Pokemon, and you can get stronger, and also, the Pokemon themselves will get stronger, and you will get stronger, and there's also potential of those Pokemon getting stronger and even evolving. With timing and health, a dose of luck, you can avoid almost every battle. So this is something that I think is really unique in this game. You can essentially avoid every single battle in this game and not even have to battle anyone, which is really interesting. Opponents level up immediately after battle and can also evolve, which is freaking insane. As I mentioned earlier, Weasel is your first partner, but your second is determined by what item you find during your journey. That's really interesting. So again, it's got this mystery dungeon feeling to it with partners and etc. So it's a quite interesting game. Definitely worth checking out. I will tell you right now. Definitely worthwhile giving it a try. So check out Pokemon Mew U, and let's go to the next one on this list. Now, coming up again is another game that I've actually played, and this is Pokemon Umber. Now, Pokemon Umber is a little bit of a weirder game. Now, here's the overview of the game. You and your friend Kaiser have taken a trip to the harsh land of Umber Island, based on the real-life island of Tenerife, in order to practice your Pokemon training skills and to become stronger trainers. At first, it seems like the two of you are in for a challenging but fun vacation, but before long, something dangerous and powerful threatens to destroy the entire island. That's the basic premise of the actual story. I think this is a slightly shorter game than the other ones, the other games that I've kind of mentioned. Not as short as the first two games I mentioned in the list, but it's slightly a shorter game. It's got about 2 to 3 hours of gameplay, and as far as I know, it is finished. So it's definitely a game. If you're looking for a finished game to play, this is it. It's got this unique kind of style of Gen 3. But it kind of has some unique tile sets to it, which I've never really seen before. Or maybe I've seen it, but it's being utilized in different ways. Either way, whatever they've done here, they've utilized the tile sets that they had really well and made the game look awesome. The battles use the elite battle system that you have, the EBS, or unless I'm getting that wrong, but they're using that, which looks great. It fits well. There are quite a few Pokemon in this, and essentially this whole place was inspired and based on like Pokemon Go spawns of the like a real life location of Tenerife with encounterable Pokemon based off of the Pokemon Go spawns. So that's really weird. Like that's a unique way to do things, but I gotta say, well done. So yeah, I don't know. This is a game that like I guess it's just one of those chill games. I played it and I really enjoyed it. It's a really chill, relaxing game. It's got an interesting story. I will tell you that right now. It's got an interesting and fun story and just something for everyone. Just like, go play it, have a good time with it. Definitely worthwhile. If you're not a big fan of Gen 3, like, graphics and that sort of stuff, then maybe it's not for you. But if you enjoy that style, then definitely go for this game. It's definitely worthwhile checking out. Either way, let's get to the next one. Now, coming up next is going to be Pokemon Galmi. Now, Galmi is a very weird game. Now, the guy who made this game specifically said the Galmi is an experimental sort of game, and he says that we want to tell a narrative in a unique structure while playing within the boundaries of the Pokemon world. And then he just talks about, like, in Hebrew, Galmi means my golem. And then it's got this like weird story element to it, right? Now, what's really unique to me with this game is actually the screen size. Now, this might sound weird, right? You've got this cool story, these like weird things going on in this game, and then you have me being like, oh, but it has a weird screen. So what I mean by this is that the game actually uses a totally new resolution, which expands like essentially the width of the actual screen, and the height of the screen is still essentially the same. So what you end up having is that, like, when the text box comes up, it actually, it's longer. It's not like, skimmer down. So essentially you can get through most parts of it pretty quickly. There are also references in this game to, like, other games, which is really awesome. And there's some unique parts about it. I think there's time travel from what I remember when I played it. There is time travel in this game, which is really odd. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a weird game. Like, it really is a weird game. So if you're going to play it, beware that it's not one of those games that's like really, supposed to give you that normal Pokemon experience. It's like a really separate, kind of on its own, like a little art project, I will tell you, honestly. That's kind of what I feel when I think of this game. It's like a little art project, which I still think is worthwhile checking out, because it's a little bit of a cluster, but it's kind of a fun cluster, I will tell you. So, I don't know, give it a try if you want to. Let's go to the next one on the list. And finally, we have a brand new Pokemon game that recently got its first beta, and it's Pokemon Jade. Now, I'm not talking about the old Jade game, which was, that weird one. You can actually buy the actual, like, not chip, but like the actual game cassette or whatever. You can actually buy that, but that's not this. This is a different thing. So this game is actually very recent, and I actually think it's awesome. Now, it's got, like, some of the things that I love about fan games is that it's got Fakemon. It's got, like, fan-made Pokemon, which is awesome. It's got fan-made starters. The overworld is beautiful. Like, straight up, the overworld is so beautiful in this game, because it utilizes a tile set that I've seen in several other games, but it utilizes it so well. Like, I just can't even describe how well they use the tile set in this. They've also got their own, like, custom battle system, or like, it's similar to others, but like they've got their own layout and stuff for it. Also, their menu is like one of those circular ones, which is really awesome. And the game, of course, has tons of Fakemon. A unique story that's very, like, to the point, simple, and enjoyable to experience. They have some Fakemon that look a little bit off, but others just like, fantastic. So it's a little bit like, up and down. And in this demo, I'm not sure how much you can experience specifically in it, but the game is beautiful. It's got custom UI, completely original region, 8 gyms, Elite Four, and a champion, and so much more to actually offer you. And also Pokemon contests, which is great. And 100 plus new Pokemon, essentially, for the game. Now, I'm not sure if all of those are in this current demo, but there are tons of Fakemon in the current beta demo, whatever you want to call it, that you can take on. And the actual beta itself has got about 3 gyms, okay? 3 gyms you can take on. So it's actually got a lot, for you to do, and tons of things to explore. So guys, give this game a try if you're looking for a fun, brand new Pokemon game that many people haven't really, talked about or really, really seen, to be honest. So give it a try, give it some love, and that's going to be the final one on this list. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, then drop a like down below. And if you want to check out these games, then, simply just search them up. I can't actually link to these games anymore because I've had some issues with YouTube. And because of that, I just want to try to avoid any sort of issues like that with any of my upcoming videos, because I just don't want to have to deal with, like, any copyright reasons and all that stuff. So if you want to check out these games, guys, just search up the names and just search up Relic Castle at the end. So if you want to search up for Pokemon Jade, just search Pokemon Jade Relic Castle on Google and you will find these games. Either way, that's going to be the end of the video. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.